Yeah, so doing good. Now what's real good is if you guys would write down those times you do that. So the sales, you take it.
Send it, yeah. And here we go, Wednesday, December 1st. Ermanni and Edwards, the bottom line. Woodward Sports Network, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Guys, thank you for joining us so much. Obviously, there is a lot going on in and around our city and our Metro Detroit area. We would be remiss, and we are going to talk sports today. Braylon. Brady Quinn is going to join us in about 20 minutes. We'll talk Michigan, Iowa, the Notre Dame situation, and plenty of other sports. But sometimes real life kind of supersedes what we're doing in the sports realm. And what happened in Oxford yesterday, about 26 hours ago, is something that I think this community is reeling from, something I think we all can certainly relate to, especially parents. And we just want to take a minute, Braylon, to update everybody. 17-year-old Justin Schilling has passed away today from his injuries sustained during yesterday's school shooting at Oxford. So he becomes the fourth student who passed away from yesterday's school shooting in Oxford at Oxford High School. 14-year-old Hannah St. Juliana, 17-year-old Madison Baldwin, and 16-year-old Tate Myre, who died in a patrol car while deputies were taking him to the hospital. Braylon, it's just something that is unspeakable, tragic, and all our hearts bleed today.
You know, every time this happens, like you feel for the families, you feel for the communities. It's just so unnecessary. It's senseless violence. You know, you think back to Columbine. You know, that was kind of like the first one that shook us up as a nation. And you go Sandy Hook. You know, this one, the shooting at Temple. You know, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. It's no need for it. You know, but with that being said, man, I just hope that everyone in that Oxford community, man, like, you know, wrap yourselves around each other. Like, be there for one another. Be there for the families of the individuals that have lost their lives. Be there for the individuals that are wounded. Be there for the people that have lost somebody. You lost family, a brother, a mother, a son, a daughter, a brother, a sister. Be there for one another. This is tough. You know, we don't have the words to describe it. It's just painful. It's just sad that we have to go through this. Every year there's one. Just senseless violence, man. And all I say is I send prayers up to the family and the community of Oxford. And I hope you guys just continue to wrap each other in love, be around each other, be there for one another, because this is going to be a trying time. But, you know, you guys will come out on the other side if you stay together. But be there for one another. That's all I really can convey on this moment. And my hearts and my prayers, so as my families, they are with you guys.
You know, we're all parents here, Maz, and I know you are the parent of, you know, high school age kids too, and this one hits close to home for all of us who have kids.
I got three little girls, a freshman and a senior in college, in high school, and a freshman in college that's away from us now. Lily's at Michigan State. She's alone last night, and I came home last night after our great night at the Fowling Warehouse, and I came home to three sad girls. Very sad. My wife's cried herself to sleep. My wife's a teacher in the Utica School District here in Michigan. My daughters go to high school. One goes to Lakeview. Another one goes to Bishop Foley. It's just, I just can't wrap my head around stuff like this. I just don't understand it. I never will. I pray that it can get better. Our world can get better. People always laugh at me because I'm not a real news watcher, and I like to immerse myself in stuff that always made me feel good. I listen to 70s. I listen to Casey Kasem. I listen to stuff that make me smile as a kid. I watch Leave It to Beaver still, for crying out loud. The Munsters, Batman. They're gone those days, and it makes me sick to my stomach that my kids have to grow up in this day and age, and those teachers that have to go to these schools and they get locked down, and metal detectors and security guards, and it's sickening. And the way this kid got a hold of his parents' gun. How do you leave a gun out for a kid to get? And there was rumors of something like this happening, and it fell on deaf ears. I guess we can't I guess you can't take. You got to take everything now and just. I don't even know, man. I'm so sorry.
And
I'm so sorry.
We'll get more details. There is a scheduled news conference momentarily, and more details will come out about actually what happened inside that school. I do want to point out that our local teams here in Detroit have made a point to provide their condolences as well. Last night, after a big Red Wings win, in Boston, Dylan Larkin and Jeff Blashill, one of the first things they said was they addressed this tragedy in Oxford as well. Here's their take on the situation.
Yeah, first I'd like to, on behalf of our whole organization and the guys in our room, send my heartfelt condolences to the community of Oxford, Michigan, and Metro Detroit and the state of Michigan in general. And it was an unspeakable tragedy what happened today, and it hit us hard. It hit the guys in the room hard, and we're thinking about the victims and the entire community, and we're there to support, and we just feel awful about the tragedy that happened today. So our thoughts are with Oxford, Michigan tonight. Thank you, guys.
I just want to send out my prayers to the families that were affected today in Oxford. It's a terrible thing. It just shouldn't happen. Nothing I say certainly can do anything to help those that suffer the tragedy. That lost their lives. I think it's insane that this is somewhat normal, and it just shouldn't happen. So I don't want to just, again, my heart goes out to certainly everybody involved, everybody at the school, the community. It's got to stop.
So that's Dylan Larkin and Jeff Blashill after last night's Red Wings win over the Boston Bruins. The Pistons head coach Dwayne Casey addressed this as well after the Pistons loss to Portland last night. Here's Dwayne Casey.
Before we get started, I want to send my condolences out to the families in Oxford, at Oxford High School. Senseless act. It bothers you that you can't send your kids to school and expect them to be safe. And also, thank you to the quick responders. I understand they got there really quick. And but again, my condolences go out to the families that were affected and the other students there at the high school.
28th school shooting this year, the 20th since August 1st. Dan Campbell addressed this as well. Here's Lions head coach Dan Campbell.
It's everywhere, but just our heart goes out to Oxford community. That was it's awful. Nobody should have to deal with that. Just prayers go out to the families and the friends and everybody involved. But that goes from myself to our players, the whole Lions community. It's awful. Shocked. Shocked. That's not something you want to hear or think about. And so when you hear it, it hits you like a ton of bricks, especially when you got kids, man, and you think about, whether they're young or whether they're like these, you're in high school and, they're going to school, and that's the last thing you're thinking. And it's brutal.
That's seriously, it is brutal, and it's a reminder of the world we are living in right now too. I think when the three of us were in school, guys, we used to do fire drills. Now they're doing active shooter training drills, and it is because of those active shooter training drills that were conducted in Oakland County at schools like Oxford that potentially have saved lives. There's that video circulating on TikTok of the alleged shooter trying to get in one of the classrooms, what is believed to be one of the alleged shooter trying to get in the classroom, and the teacher, they barricaded themselves in the room, and the teacher says, "We're not comfortable coming out yet. We're not comfortable coming out yet," because the person on the other side of the door was pretending to be the Oakland County sheriffs. And then he says the word "bro," and they're like, "No, that's a red flag. That's a red flag."
Yeah,
Again, it's unspeakable to think about. And if you're just joining us, 17-year-old Justin Schilling passed away today from his injuries, gunshot wounds, yesterday's school shooting. So that makes it now four dead.
And like you said, when we were in school, like you were in Michigan when Columbine happened. I still was in high school when Columbine happened, and even though it happened when I was in high school, you never feared that it was going to happen over here. You saw it as a one-off. You saw it as Denver. You saw it as Colorado. Like, guns were brought to school when I was in school, and they were fired, but in the air. Like, it was a guy bringing his gun to school. He'll fire it at a basketball game. He'll fire it in the air outside, something that you shouldn't do, but you never feared being shot at. You never feared that you could potentially die. I couldn't imagine having this happen at my high school and then having to go back to school at some point, having to worry about going back and finish the year. I'll keep in mind it's only December. Like, there's a lot of school left and having to go back to school and thinking about what if this happens again, and thinking about, like, that's in the back of your mind. Like, I just couldn't imagine being a 14-year-old and dealing with that mindset, or a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17, the list goes. I just couldn't imagine dealing with that. I can't imagine what these kids are going through mentally. Can't imagine it.
What makes a kid like that? That's
the question that I think
it's the world we live in. It's the crap that's on TV. It's the games they play.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking as a parent here.
No,
I'm speaking as a parent who won't let my kids play those games.
I understand.
I'm speaking as a parent who teaches their kid how to be on social media and how not to really put too much effort and thought into what people are saying on social media. I'm thinking about people that are mean kids, mean people. I'm going to say this. Girls, they're a tough breed to bring up. My girls were phenomenal up till 12 years old, and I mean loving and outgoing. And once the girls hit 12 or 13 years old, they change. And girls, they attack each other. They're catty. And this is the truth. I'm not telling anybody anything that's out of line here. Boys, they do their thing. This kid, I don't know what road he took to get to where he is today. But we don't help. Hollywood puts these big movies out, show you how to blow up a building and all of that. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but we don't help. We do not help. We don't do anything to help. These kids, this travel ball and all of this crap that you have to spend all this money on, and they have certain friends that they're only with, instead of like when we were young, going out and playing ball.
Hollywood has always been around. I think what has enhanced Hollywood, or if that's the route you want to go, I think it's social media, like you started with. And because I say, Ryan, how many people attacked you after your comments about Michigan State? And I know I'm going a little different, but just bear with me. After Michigan State, how many people attacked you? A lot. And they said,
countless.
They said a lot of bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now but you're a grown man, and you and I talked about it, and you felt bad to a certain extent, and you were pissed to a certain extent. And you're a grown man. How many people attacked me, and I'm a grown man? Now imagine being 14. Imagine that mindset at 14. And I'm not saying that's what happens, but I'm saying that's a part of it. Imagine 14, you being attacked like that. Somebody saying something, somebody cracking a joke, and you not being able to handle it because you're 14. You're 15. The shooter was 15. Not being able to handle it. So now what you do is not, as opposed to talk to somebody, as opposed to bring it in and get over it and figure it out and say, oh, it's just social media. Oh, it's just whatever. Oh, it's just a loser. It's just whatever. Yeah. You don't know how to deal with it that way. So what do? You steal dad's gun. And you say, I'll teach you. I'll show you. I'll show you guys for making fun of me. I'm not giving these guys excuse because there's no effing excuse. But I'm telling you, that's what it is. It's not social. It's not the blockbuster movies. It's young individuals not knowing how to deal with insecurities, and they're taking it out on individuals with physicality and violence.
You know, one of the things, and I love you both, and I agree with you both. We all want answers as to how and why this happens. I mean, do we need more God, more faith, more, bring back the Pledge of Allegiance? Do we need, like, we can speculate for days as why and how this happens, and it's hard not to. We will get more information on how and why, we hope, in the coming hours and days. I saw this video today, and it was from State Champs, and it was of 16-year-old Tate Myre, who just took a recruiting trip to Toledo, University of Toledo. He's played varsity football ever since he was a freshman at Oxford. Scored their lone touchdown. We have it for you. This week, or excuse me, a couple of weeks ago in their district final against Rochester Adams. This is Tate Myre, number 42, scoring a touchdown a couple of weeks ago. And now he has tragically been shot and killed.
Visited Toledo this past weekend. They brought him in. Hey, kid, come on in. Check out Toledo. We'd love to maybe have you come play football for us here at the Glass Bowl.
Shot a kid as he was trying to help other students. Am I correct?
Yes, that is the report. Died a hero. He was trying to disarm the gunman. Tate Myre, my goodness. Our thoughts are with Justin Schilling, Hannah St. Juliana, Madison Baldwin, Tate Myre, their families, everyone affected by this. We are going to take a break. We're going to transition into sports because that's what we do, and hopefully we can provide a little bit of levity throughout this situation and get on track a little bit. It's going to be a tough day. I think we all feel pretty miserable today. And we'll try to continue on, do a little sports as well. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
The pros know. Go! Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
All right, gang. Welcome back. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. College football playoff rankings came out last night, and I'm not sure there was a big surprise at all. Maybe 5 and 6, if that did it for you. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. They jump up. Number 3, Alabama. Number 4 is Cincy. So Cincy remains at 4. Oklahoma State on their win over Oklahoma. They jumped Notre Dame and are now 5th in the college football playoff rankings. The Fighting Irish, who lost their head coach, are at 6. Still got a fighting chance to get into the college football playoff. Absolutely. Here's what college football playoff chairman
beep. Their backup is on.
Gary Barta had to say about coaching changes and potentially their effect on the rankings.
How do you anticipate that being evaluated in the final ranking process?
Well, you make a good point, Reese, that committee obviously is aware of all the coaching changes while we were going through the rankings. This week, it didn't apply because the games had occurred, and we evaluated based on those games. Once the championship games wrap up, to your point, our protocol does include the ability for the committee to consider a player or a coach not being available, and should that have an effect.
So there you go. I mean, it is a consideration that Brian Kelly is no longer the coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I don't know how that's got to change, first of all, because those kids, if the kids deserve it or the kids don't deserve it.
Right, has nothing to do with Brian being there or not.
Right, exactly.
I agree.
So, first of all, Braylon, do you think they got it right? Did the committee get it right last night, 1 through 4, 1 through 6, really?
I've never been a fan of Cincinnati, so for me, I think They pretty much got it right. They have them 4. I could even make a case for Oklahoma State to be 4 and Cincinnati to be 5. I know I'd be arguing with a bunch of people. But, yeah, they got it right. Georgia deserves to be number 1. They've been 1 all year. They have no reason to be taken out of that 1 spot. Michigan beat Ohio State, who was 2. It was a hell of a win. Michigan only has 1 loss, and that's to a Michigan State team that was in the top 10 for most of the year, and now they sit at 11. Alabama, it was an ugly win against Auburn, but once again, it was a win. They beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss was number 8 when they beat them. Ole Miss is currently still number 8. They beat Arkansas, who's ranked. I'm fine with them 3. Cincinnati at 4. But I tell you like this, it seems as though they're setting Cincinnati up to get played. They're setting Cincinnati up to may not make it into this Final Four no matter what happens. So they got it right for now. We'll see what happens after these conference championships on Saturday because, man, it's going to be a great weekend, I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you, if I was Michigan, I'd much rather play Cincinnati than Alabama as it sits right now. So, Michigan fans.
Michigan's not going to play Alabama.
Well, I can tell you this. Michigan fans better be rooting for Georgia to lay the hammer down to Alabama to knock them out of the top 4.
But here's the thing, too, though. Michigan will be fine regardless. And the reason why I say that is Michigan's not going to number 1. Either Georgia's going to beat Alabama, which leaves Michigan at 2, or if Alabama beats Georgia, then Alabama's going to 1 and Georgia's going to go to 3. They'll just swap spots. But Michigan will
Potentially.
Michigan won't go to 1 regardless of what happens. If Alabama,
maybe.
No, how would they go to 1? Because
if they slam Iowa and Alabama nips Georgia, Michigan has every right to be number 1.
They're gonna just switch Alabama and Georgia. I think Alabama's.
I can see what you're saying.
I think Alabama's gonna win. I've been saying that all season. Alabama's gonna win. But if that happens, they just swap those guys' spots. They'll leave Michigan at 2. Because if you look at Alabama, how can you deny Alabama number 1 spot if they beat the number 1 seed? And they also beat a number 8 seed. They have better wins. So it actually works, and they've set it up all year. Texas A&M is floating around at 24 for a reason. Arkansas is floating around at 23 for a reason so that you can justify Alabama's loss and Alabama's wins.
Under your scenario, Braylon, I think it makes a lot of sense because let's just say Alabama beats Georgia.
Yeah.
You're not going to drop Georgia to 4. You're going to put them at 3 because you don't want to set up a potential rematch in the first semifinal, Georgia and Alabama. You make Georgia 3, so if they have to play again in the national championship game, that's one thing. You don't want them to play essentially back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
So there's that one.
So Michigan's either getting Bama or Georgia, you're telling me?
Yes.
I don't think they're getting Bama. Because I don't think Bama's getting in if they lose.
I said against Cincy or Oklahoma State.
Oh, I thought you said Bama. But I don't think Michigan plays Alabama in the playoff unless it's in the national championship. Because
if Bama beats Georgia,
then
Georgia's going to 3.
Right.
Michigan plays Georgia.
Yeah, but Michigan's not going to play Bama in that semifinal. Is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I don't see a scenario where Michigan plays Bama in the semifinal round.
Thank you. Got it.
Because either
maybe I explained that wrong. I apologize. Thanks for cleaning it up.
Because, and by the way, the lines did come out of this. Georgia would be a 17-point favorite against Cincinnati. Alabama would be a 4.5-point favorite over Michigan.
Sounds
I think
about
that's
right.
pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
But again, under this scenario, I think Michigan plays Cincinnati, Georgia, or Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And those are all good games. I think it's one of those, be careful what you wish for. I think everybody wants Cincinnati, but how many times does that work out for you, right? I mean, go back to 2006 when everybody at Ohio State were like, whew, we got Florida. We didn't have to do the rematch against.
It's crazy. I was thinking about that too. Just think if they had the college football playoffs in 2006, Michigan would have been in.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Michigan would have got in.
Absolutely.
They lost to the number 1. They would have been a number 4 seed probably.
Well, they got bounced to number 3 that year.
Oh, that's
in the
right.
AP poll.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
they got
and they
bounced
played
to number
USC,
3.
I think.
That's right. So plenty to discuss with our guy Brady Quinn. Big noon kickoff. Going to be live from Indianapolis this week. We'll talk to Brady. We'll do it next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network. The bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
And a
miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Hey, everybody, it's Maz for our good friends and our studio sponsors, MyBookie.ag. You can get them at MyBookie.com as well. It's where I put my sports bets in, and I'm looking forward to another big college football weekend. Thursday night football tomorrow, the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. If you're going to bet this game, go to MyBookie.ag. And if you're a first-timer, make sure when you put your money in, use the promo code Woodward, because they're going to double it all the way up to $1,000. If you put $1,000 in, they're going to match it with $1,000. If you put $100 in, they'll match your $100 as well. $25 going to you. It's your money to do whatever you want with it. MyBookie.ag, it's where you go to put your bets in. A full college slate this weekend, NFL as well, and of course, Thursday night football tomorrow. Use that promo code Woodward. MyBookie.ag, bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. If you have a gambling problem, please call the Michigan Gambling Hotline at 1-800-270-7117.
Right back here, Woodward Sports Network, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Let's bring him in now. He's our guy. We love him. Brady Quinn, Fox Big Noon Kickoff. Had Michigan a couple of times this year, and he'll get him again in Indianapolis for the first time.
His hair is always perfect. His hair is always perfect.
looking perfect.
He is. He's the perfect human.
I have to go in the studio.
It's Clark Kent, man. It's Clark Kent.
I have to work later today.
I tried to at least get a beard, man, so I had something that was clean.
Hey, Brady, before we look forward, I want to look back. You were in Ann Arbor last week. You know, for a Michigan guy like me and Braylon, I've never been to a Michigan game that I can remember in the last 25 years that was as loud, the atmosphere, everything about it was so beautiful. How would you characterize the atmosphere in Ann Arbor last weekend?
It was as scenic as I think college football can get. Just from the rivalry, the colors, both teams kind of coming out, the crowd, the snow falling. I mean, it was like something out of a movie. And obviously the way the game went, it probably felt like it was something out of a movie for Michigan fans and something out of a nightmare for Ohio State fans. But the reality is it's hard to put into words because it was just such a monumental win, I think, for Jim Harbaugh, finally getting over the hump of beating Ohio State, but more so than that, the manner in which they did it. I mean, they physically dominated Ohio State on both sides of the football, and this team is continuing to build this year to the point now where I think you have to look at them at least as the top four currently stand, because I do think Alabama will end up losing to Georgia, and once Bama's knocked out, you know, and I'm assuming Oklahoma State beats Baylor and they end up kind of leapfrogging into it, I think Michigan gives Georgia, you know, the best game. Like, that's the best chance to compete with Georgia for, you know, a national championship. So everything they displayed last week, in particular up front on the defensive line, Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, the offensive line, the way they blocked for Hassan Haskins, who ran tough and physical, and Blake Corum, all of that is, to me, what stood out the most, because they physically dominated an Ohio State team that I watched coming into Ann Arbor 2 years ago, the last time these two teams played, and it was the exact opposite. It was Ohio State who dominated the line of scrimmage, and it was anything but that this past weekend.
I walked by you, Brady, as you guys were on the side set. I think when I walked by you guys, A-Rod was up there. The real A-Rod was up there, and I started to grab the back of your black jacket, but we were late, and I was trying to get on the field, so I said, you know what, I'm going to let my brother work. I'm going to let him do his thing. I'm going to get over here so we can get our tickets and get in. But explaining a little bit more, like, what was it that led to the win for Michigan? Because, you know, our show, these people, these fans, they've heard me talk all 2 weeks about what Michigan was going to do, how they were going to win the game. They heard me yesterday and on Monday talk about I was right about how they were going to do it. Be a little more specific so our fans can know, like, what was it that got Michigan over the hump and why they ended up winning by 15 on this past Saturday.
Yeah, I think the opening drive was first the biggest thing. Is they literally set the tone on the opening drive. It was a 6-minute drive, something like that, and just ran the ball down Ohio State's throat. You know, they kind of made it look like, hey, this is not going to be what you saw the week prior, where we're going to let Ohio State jump out to a fast start, throw the football around the field. Now, the elements played a role in that. But I thought right away when they drove down the field, got a score. And then with the way the ensuing kickoff happened, Ohio State was backed up. Like, one of the things that became a factor then was 111,000 fans there that were rooting on the Wolverines. You know, I remember coming back in 2005, and we ran a no huddle because we didn't want Michigan's fan base to be able to impact what we were trying to do. So we had practiced all week basically to go kind of up tempo at times with no huddle to eliminate some of that. And we knew starting fast was a big key. And this basically allowed that 12th man to play a factor. And so that first drive, you could see it. I mean, C.J. Stroud, the Buckeyes were backed up. They already started to get pressure on C.J. Stroud. He seemed uncomfortable throwing in those conditions. Seemed like he really wasn't comfortable doing that. So that start of the game, I think, was the biggest key to me and how they ended up kind of just setting the tone there. But then past that, you know, Ohio State, after the interception from Cade McNamara as they were driving in, that was one of those swings where you're watching the game thinking, okay, if Ohio State's going to come back, they kind of have to crawl back in this way and start making some plays. Stroud got more comfortable. The passing game got going. But Michigan never really let up, and they never backed down. And I thought the way they stopped Travion Henderson from getting going in the run game, and then Josh Gaddis and Jim Harbaugh continually saying, like, we're not going to be concerned by whatever they want to do on their side of the ball, throwing and trying to create big plays downfield. We're going to keep hammering away at the rushing attack in between the tackles, which is, where I think Ohio State's most vulnerable. I mean, they neutralize those defensive tackles. The backers for Ohio State aren't what they have been, and credit the offensive line, the big boys up front. I think on the defensive side of the ball, one of the biggest things where they really weren't, it was kind of like more of a soft zone, so different than what we saw from Don Brown in the past, a lot more man-to-man, which plays into Ryan Day's hands and what he wants to do with the crossing routes and the mesh concepts to try to find ways of isolating his guys. Not quite as much of that. And I think that forced Stroud to have to kind of almost dink and dunk at times, but also really be patient and not have the opportunity to hit as many big plays as they're accustomed to getting. So you really got to credit the defensive staff too, and the defense secondary in particular, the way those guys played in their zone coverage, limiting some of the impact of the wide receivers, and also coming up in run support. That was one of the other things too. You go back and look at the tape and watch, how many tackles were safeties kind of coming up, making plays, or secondary players making plays in the run game too.
Yeah, everything that you said was 100% correct. That's what I thought as well. I think the two biggest plays for Michigan in that game, I think when Ohio State got the interception, you're like, and then you see the drives. Here we go. This is what Ohio State does. Here we go. And then for them that stopped them, forced them to a field goal, that was the first major thing. Excuse me. And the second major thing was who got the ball after the half? Ohio State. And what did Michigan force them to do? They went 3 and out. Those were the two biggest things for Michigan for me, Ryan.
Hey, Brady, when you look at this Big Ten championship game against Iowa, now you guys will be in Indianapolis. I think many of us, and you look at the college football playoff last night, Michigan number 2, it almost feels, and knock on wood.
By the way, Brady had us number 3, but I'm not saying anything.
It almost feels like, what, this is just a formality, that they'll play Iowa, they'll beat Iowa, they'll go into they'll win the Big Ten championship and move forward. What does Michigan have to do against Iowa to beat them?
Well, the biggest thing is they can't, allow turnovers to become an issue.
Yeah.
They're going to have to try to run the football, but the Iowa defense is about as stout as it gets, in particular in the front 7. And so you got to try to find a way of methodically working the ball down the field. They're going to shorten the game. They're going to run the football and limit your possession. So you can't force anything. Their secondary has been better than anyone in the country this year at getting turnovers. I think they believe they have 22 interceptions on the season. They've just been ball hawks, bottom line. So, Iowa kind of plays that brand of football where, like, they don't hurt themselves. They're not going to have any dumb penalties. They're not going to do anything like that. They offensively are really conservative. And then they wait and they kind of dial something up. And so, offensively, it's going to be a physical battle. But Cade McNamara is going to have to step up. He's going to have to make sure he delivers when that moment calls itself, not put the ball in harm's way. As far as the offense goes, like, I think your best bet is spreading them out. And I know sometimes Josh Gaddis likes to do that, in particular, utilizing Blake Corum too in the passing game, doing it that way. I think you can find some favorable matchups doing that. And obviously, I think if you look at the athleticism and speed for Michigan on the outside, whether it's some misdirection plays, you kind of saw that early reverse to Henning for the touchdown. That I believe was the first drive of the game last week. that kind of stuff, too, is where you can catch Iowa a little bit off guard because naturally Michigan's going to have some big-time playmakers. Defensively, you got to stop the run. Like, they're going to hand Tyler Goodson the ball and try to get him 30 touches, maybe 35 touches in this one. His touches has only gone up since they switched to Alex Padilla, now a quarterback. And then the third phase is honestly special teams. Iowa's is about as good as it gets. Charlie Jones, their returner, he's great in kickoff return. He returned one, I think, two weeks ago. And I think he's like second or third in the Big Ten as far as punt return yardage. They've got to be good as far as covering him, getting him down, or not even giving him a chance. And then Torrey Taylor, their punter, because that's one of the things Kirk Ferentz wants to do, is he wants to try to play more of a field position game with you. So, they're okay punting. They're okay going on a 5-6 play drive, but then flipping the field position because they've got faith that Torrey Taylor can pin that thing inside the 10. Like, we were there for Iowa Penn State. I think he had like 5 or 6 punts that were literally inside the 10 that kept backing up Penn State. That's obviously not where you want to be. So Michigan's got to be sound as far as special teams go. Coverage down on Charlie Jones and just ensuring that they take their opportunities, too, to flip the field when that opportunity comes. I mean, look, it's going to be a battle. There's no real easy wins versus Iowa the way they're coached, the way they play.
Yeah, I agree 100% because, Iowa, Van Valkenburg, Ohio State doesn't have anybody like Van Valkenburg. And then as a DB, Belton, Ohio State doesn't have anybody like Belton. So I agree with you 100%, Maz.
Hey, Brady, about Notre Dame. I know you kind of like them. Notre Dame All-American, Fox analyst. Notre Dame is an independent. And I've been yelling this since I was a kid, and I'm older than all of you guys. Do they really deserve to get in this top 4, having not been playing a championship game? They're finished. Their season's in the books. So if everything falls Notre Dame's way, do you really feel that they belong to go up into the top 4?
Well, I mean, look, first off, it's not my opinion that matters, I guess. It's the College Football Playoff Committee. We've already had an Alabama team that didn't even win their own division that went in. We had an Ohio State team that didn't win their division that went in. We had a Notre Dame team last year who lost in the conference championship game with the only season they've ever been a part of a conference and went in the college football playoff. So if you're asking me, do I think they can or do they deserve to if everything breaks right? Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, and we've seen it again. I think this team's playing some of the best football of anyone in college football right now. Are they a top 4 team in my opinion? I think it's tough because you got a lot of teams after really Georgia and probably Michigan that you're looking at saying, like, who's going to fit that bill afterwards? Bama keeps kind of inking along, and they've got 2 tremendous players in Bryce Young and Will Anderson, who probably next to Aiden Hutchinson deserves to be a part of the Heisman conversation as a defensive player. But as a team, they haven't played that great this year. They're kind of inking along. Oklahoma State's exceeded expectations. Cincinnati's been great. Like, there's a lot of teams you can kind of throw into that mix. It's one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of expansion, so we can see more of these teams play off and see who's capable. But look, if Michigan were to happen to lose and Alabama were to happen to lose, yeah, I think you've got a case for Notre Dame would slide in. I think the hard part is with everything going on right now, with Brian Kelly leaving, that's where you might find them where, the committee doesn't want to put them in that scenario.
Right.
Where they have to have an interim head coach or whatever's left of their coaching staff, depending on what guys decide to do, coaching a team that's trying to play for a national championship in a semifinal game. I don't know that the committee's going to want to put them in that position.
Marcus Freeman.
Hey, before we get into Brian Kelly, and I'm going to leave that to the boys at the desk here, I just want to say, isn't it time to make these independents join a league? We're in 2021, man.
Notre Dame was in ACC last year.
Maz is passionate about this, Brady.
Join a league. Pick a side.
Here's the thing that I think you have to understand this.
The money.
Serious standpoint, to not be.
I think we may have lost Brady's audio.
Hold on, Brady. Hold on, Brady. I think your headphones are probably interfering. We're hearing a lot of whistling, so let's take a quick time out here, right? Let's come right back to Brady.
Let me take a 15-second pause. We'll be right back. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuffer Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuffer Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Right back here with Brady Quinn. And Brady, thanks again for the time, man. We certainly appreciate it. Maz was asking about Notre Dame. Is it time for them to join the conference? I just want
So there's a number of reasons why they don't want to. It's not even so much for the TV deals for TV. It's also about fundraising. They feel like they're able to tap into their alumni base nationally if they're able to play on the West Coast, in Chicago, on the East Coast, which they've done from time to time. And they're able to fundraise and make more as a private institution. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think you're actually going to see, as far as what's happening in college football with the TV networks, you're going to see more networks solely pay for the home game rights to some of these bigger brands. Now, that may not be the case for the Big Ten or SEC, but as the Big 12 starts to fracture with OU and Texas moving out, the Pac-12, for example, you might see teams only bid on their home games for USC. So not have a Pac-12 package, but like just the home games for USC moving forward. You're quasi making them independent, even though they play a part of a conference. It's a similar model and structure. And the last thing I just say is Notre Dame strengthens everyone else's schedule around the country.
Yep.
We're everyone's best non-conference game.
Yeah.
And so, everyone might want Notre Dame to be a part of a conference, but that then only waters down the opportunity for everyone else across all Power 5 teams to play Notre Dame, which helps strengthen their schedule, and it makes bigger matchups for college football. So I don't know why everyone's obsessed with them joining a conference. They joined 1 year. They literally swept the regular season. They lost in the conference championship game, and they still made it into the playoff, even though they didn't win the conference. So it's like, whether they're a part of one or not, I don't know that that's necessarily what they have to do. They're able to have a stronger strength of schedule as an independent, and it's better for everyone else in college football if they are independent.
Brady Quinn, Fox Sports.
Drop that knowledge then.
There you go, Fox Big Noon Kickoff analyst. And Brady, I wanted to ask you about, obviously, Brian Kelly. And is it as simple as this? Would Brian Kelly be the head coach of Notre Dame still had Mel Tucker not signed a $95 million deal with Michigan State?
It's hard to think that wasn't ultimately the domino effect from that contract, right? I think that started everything. That reset the market. It completely changed the market, and the college market started moving so fast that now you've even got NFL head coaches who are being asked about college football vacancies. I mean, take that into account for a second. You've got NFL head coaches are being asked about an opening at Oklahoma or Notre Dame now. That's where we're at. So that market's been reset. I'm sure the NFL soon will be reset as well after all this is shaked out. But it's a valid question. Honestly, he'd probably still be there right now.
Brady's
maybe not.
Go ahead.
Maybe he would have left anyway because he feels like, at least from his words, that LSU is going to give him more and they'll be able to recruit the type of athletes he needs to win a national championship. But that's coming from him. I don't believe that to be the case at all.
Such an important point you just made, because I almost think now, look, Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, makes $4.1 million a year. You don't think he can go to an SEC school, maybe Arkansas or somewhere like that, and make $12 million a year, $10 million a year? I mean, is it now more appetizing to be a college coach than an NFL coach? I mean, Mike McCarthy of the Dallas freaking Cowboys, Brady, makes $4 million a year. I mean, these college guys are getting $10 million like it's nothing.
And a private jet.
Yeah, and a private jet and a 10-year deal, right? I mean, who's willing to commit to an NFL head coach for 10 years besides Mark Davis, and how'd that work out with John Gruden? So, you've got that on the backside of it too, where you've got a coach who may get fired 3, 4, 5 years into that deal, and he's still getting paid for the rest of it. So it's becoming, I think, more attractive. The big hang-up is always with an NFL coach is recruiting. Does he want to have to spend the time recruiting, 16, 17-year-old kids to come, or even, guys on who are in the transfer portal? Do they want to spend time doing that? Nowadays, though, if you look at how some of these universities are structured in the athletic department, they almost have like a scouting department like you have in the NFL. I don't know that it's that different than what we're accustomed to seeing. And I think the one advantage college head coaches have over NFL is you kind of don't have to answer to too many people. I mean, outside of like the university protocols and your athletic director, some of the people you work with, you're paid more than everyone else. So it's kind of like you're the top dog. When you're a part of an NFL organization, you have to answer at least to an owner, if not to a general manager or president of the organization, depending on that structure.
Brady, how about Big Ten Coach of the Year? Came out yesterday. Mel Tucker is the Big Ten Coach of the Year. Braylon is shaking his head. Who's your pick for Big Ten Coach of the Year?
It's bull. It is bull.
The hard thing is if you're going to put the other coach in the conversation, which is Jim Harbaugh, who should be up for it, but Michigan State beat him head-to-head. So that's the hard thing. And I also think
But they lost to Purdue. They lost to Purdue.
I know.
And then they got blown out by Ohio State.
I get it. But they were also a 2-win team a year ago.
So was Michigan. So was Michigan.
But first off, I would say this about Michigan. Jim Harbaugh's been there for a while. I think they've averaged about 9 wins before the COVID year, which was kind of threw a wrench in everything for everyone last year. But the way Mel Tucker went in from last year being a first-year head coach there to this year, I mean, it's pretty remarkable what he's done. And he's done it, too, with about 40 new players between transfers and freshmen. And so I know you could probably pick one out of the hat, whether it's Mel Tucker or Jim Harbaugh. They both should be up for it. They both maybe should get it and be like co-coaches of the year. But Mel Tucker does have that win in East Lansing. I think that's ultimately probably the deciding factor for those who voted on it.
Sometimes it takes your brother to calm you down and make you see the other side. So I appreciate you, Brady. But before you go, brother, I have your new coach at Notre Dame. You ready for this? This should be the coach of Notre Dame. Alex, go ahead and put that grab. Hey, what do you think? Make it happen. Make it happen. Ted Lasso, baby. Ted Lasso. He's got the same hair as you as well.
I know. He's got a way better mustache, though.
Yeah, that mustache is definitely funky 70s.
I'll reach out and see if we can bring him back.
Brady,
hey, man, I appreciate you as always, buddy.
Hey, is Luke Fickell the next head coach at Notre Dame?
I don't see him leaving
it's
Cincinnati.
Tough to answer that question because I think you've got Luke Fickell out there. I think you've got Matt Campbell who would be a good fit. I think you've got Marcus Freeman who's already there.
The defensive coordinator.
The biggest question about Marcus Freeman is, do you want him to cut his teeth on this job? Mm-hmm. Because he's a great coach. He's a great recruiter. You know what the head coach of Notre Dame ends up being? A CEO. He doesn't end up being either of those two things. Like, you spend the majority of your time fundraising and meeting with the Board of Regents and then kind of closing recruits and all this stuff. Like, it's the furthest thing, and like managing all of your staff and managing all of your team. It's like the furthest thing from like being a coach. That's why it's so different, so unique. And so you almost want to have a head coach who's got some experience in having to deal with elements of that instead of someone who's young and hasn't really done it before, even though they're in-house and they kind of have seen how it operates.
Brady, we certainly appreciate your time. You're so generous with your time on our show. Every time we put out the call, you always say yes. You're extremely gracious, and we certainly appreciate it. And I have to say, and a lot of I tell everybody this, Big Noon Kickoff is better than College Game Day.
That's great.
It has been, it is, and we're glad that you got the Big Ten championship game on Saturday. Thanks so much, my man.
See you, Indy.
We're glad, man. It's going to be so much fun with Michigan in there. So best of luck. Go Blue, man. It's going to be a great game.
Hey, I can't believe I didn't think about this. What are you doing now with Stoops, though? Stoops is going to go coach Oklahoma.
Put a mic on him.
I'm pretty sure he's working this weekend last time I checked, so he's going to be there. I don't know how distracted he'll be because I think he's like preparing him for the bowl game, and I think he's recruiting and all this stuff right now.
Gotta love college football these days, baby.
Hey, he's always distracted anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, whoever gets hired for that job, Urban's on the desk, he gets a job. Stoops, and then Stoops is going to go coach. Who's next?
Bring back Lou Holtz.
Hey, if you want a head coaching job, just come to us.
This is true. That's the fastest way to a great head coaching job.
Brady Quinn, always generous. Thanks so much, Brady. Best of luck.
Love you, buddy.
Go get you a St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail in Indianapolis.
See you, man.
All right, good job. So there you have it. Always fun to talk to Brady Quinn.
It's definitely so. It's so interesting having Brady on the show, and he and I text. We kind of talk about some games, and having him on the show, it's different than when we were kids. Like when we were in Cleveland playing football, we were talking about football. We were talking about us and what we can do, and talk about video games or golf. He and I used to golf a lot, and now to hear him talking about, if you're the head coach at Notre Dame, you're more of a CEO because you're more fundraising, and it's interesting, just like the maturation of conversation from he and I being 25 to now he and I are 38 and 33, 38 and 34. So it's great.
And how about that too? He made a great point. Maz, you always talk about who wants to go recruit these kids.
Yeah.
Who wants to go recruit these kids. He had a great point. These college staffs now have almost like scouting departments like the NFL does. You tell me who the good guy is, I'll go visit him and maybe shoot him a text message or two, and that's it. That's all you got to do these days, right?
If I'm Jim Harbaugh, I don't have to leave Ann Arbor as much. It's like, hey, I'm not going down there to Starksville. I'm not going all these random places.
It's a corporation.
Like you said, you point him out. This guy's a 5-star. You believe in him. You believe in what he's doing. He's on our radar, on our board. Go see him, go visit him.
Hey, we do have an update in the Oxford High School shooting. I do want to get to that next. They did name the suspect. They did charge the suspect. We'll get the latest on that. We'll do that next. And then in the 3 o'clock hour, guys, we'll get into more of Brian Kelly. We have the audio and video of the way he addressed his team. It was like a 4-minute address to the team. We have that for you. We'll play that in the 3 o'clock hour, but we'll get you an update from Oxford. We'll do it next.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
You want to get a job in an industry that is always essential? Excuse me. Let me take that back. Want to get a career in an industry that's always essential? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the heating and cooling industry. Visit northwesterntech.edu. That is how you find out about that career, and that is where you go to find out how you can make $77,000 a year fresh out the gate right after you finish. Visit northwesterntech.edu.
Guys, there is an update, and again, we're going to get back to sports really quickly. I just wanted to provide, since we gave you one at the beginning of the show, they did arrest 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley. He planned the attack at Oxford High School based on a mountain of digital evidence. This, according to Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald. Prosecutor Karen McDonald says they are considering charges against suspected shooter's parents as well. A decision on that will be made very soon. Crumbley will be tried as an adult, charged with terrorism, 4 counts of first-degree murder, 7 counts of assault with intent to murder, and felony firearm. That is from Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack reporting on that. So if we get any more information on that, we will certainly pass it along to you. Just wanted to keep our audience informed. We know it's a very heavy day, a very heavy time around here, but we do want to get back to sports. And we just talked to Brady Quinn, again, one of the best out there right now. That Big Noon Kickoff show is as good a football show as you will get.
He's so good. Whenever he comes on our show, I always steal stuff and pawn it off as my own. I go back to my friend and say, well, actually, the reason why you don't take the job as Notre Dame in terms of being a part of another conference is because you water down Notre Dame's brand. I'm going to steal that and use that with my friends. Thank you, Brady. Appreciate
I still want to tell him, hey, join a league, pick a side.
I don't know, Maz. After he said what he said, it's like as you start thinking about it.
What makes them special? Are they their own conference?
They're the winningest team, or second winningest team of all time. They have been the golden standard
pick a side
for years. Like they've been doing this for years.
They should be in the Big Ten Put them in the Big Ten West.
But why should they be in the Big Ten?
Because this is where they belong. This is the Midwest.
What happened when you put Penn State in the Big Ten? You no longer heard about them. Yeah, they've had some good years, but Penn State was its own entity. They were great. When's the last time they won a national championship? When they were their own entity. You put them in the Big Ten. Oh, they got to see Michigan every year. They got to see Ohio State every year.
That's good.
No, it's not. Not for Penn State.
Maybe for Penn State didn't have the benefit of getting all the money that Notre Dame gets.
Right.
Right?
They were getting a lot of that when they had Paterno back in the day. Like, they were doing their thing, and you stuck them in 1994, if I'm not mistaken. 94, you stuck them in the Big Ten, and you put them, you sandwiched them in between three other really good teams, two great teams. You had Michigan State, and the two great ones were Michigan and Ohio State. And now they had to find their way. I kind of start to understand what it means for them not to join after he says that, thinking about Penn State.
I do think Notre Dame eventually joins a conference when you're going to see 5 years from now, you're not going to recognize college football.
I told you it's going to be East, West, North, South.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. 4 conferences, East, West, North, South.
And that's what I was getting to with Texas and Oklahoma now joining the SEC.
That's why Lincoln Riley got out of there.
It's going to be, why he ever got, it's going to be increasingly more difficult for Notre Dame to avoid any controversy in terms of how do you put Notre Dame in any playoff when you see these teams in these leagues battling each other like crazy. Essentially, the Big 12 will be out. The Pac-12, they're going to take on a couple of teams. The Big 10, look, is that the ideal conference for Notre Dame to join potentially?
Yes, it
obviously.
is.
I think also another reason why they've been able to escape for so long is because when you look at their schedule, every year, with the exception of this one was a weird schedule. I know they played Navy, they played UNC, they played, this was a weird one. But usually their schedule is USC every year, and USC was good. Mm-hmm. They had Navy, which was always a good game for them. Then you had Michigan State was on that schedule. Michigan was on that schedule. Clemson was on that schedule. You go down the list every year. You didn't envy Notre Dame's schedule, and that's why people left them alone for so long. It was like, you know what? Hell, I don't want that schedule. I don't want to have to play that. Now, the last couple of years, it's kind of been watered down a little bit. You're starting to say, they need to join. They need to join. But for years, you look at that schedule, nobody wanted Notre Dame's schedule for years.
East, West, and the Big Ten, blow it up.
Yeah,
it's time.
I agree. I definitely agree with
that. Blow it up.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Ohio State and Michigan, even though they've played forever. Let me not say that. Let me ask you. Do you think Ohio State and Michigan should be in different conferences? I knew, Yes. Do you think so, Ryan, or should they play each other every year?
You got to play every.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah, you still play
how
every
about
year.
this? How about they play every year, but they're not in the same
Correct.
side?
Yeah, for whatever reason, because then you can't play the repeat game in the championship.
Those are your two
But
brands.
you can play the repeat game in the championship. Because think about it. Michigan was about to play Wisconsin, but Wisconsin lost to Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want I don't know if that's good for your conference to
look at the West.
Listen to me. Is it good for the Big Ten if Michigan loses to Iowa this week?
No, then they don't deserve it.
No, it's not.
They don't deserve it
So
then.
is it good for the Big Ten to continuously be left out if their best teams are battling each other back-to-back weeks? Is it good for the Big Ten if Michigan plays Ohio State, loses, then Michigan goes and beats Ohio State, and then they're both left out? I'm just saying, you got to think money too, man. You guys are thinking business.
Ryan, I'm thinking money. Or they're both in. We just talked about 2006.
Not going to let them play 3 times in 4 weeks.
It's not going to be 4 anymore. It's going to be 16 or 8.
But right now it is 4. And they would both never get in.
Why would they play 3 times?
Well, if you're saying you play the last game of the year, and then you play in the Big Ten championship game if they're on opposite sides, and then they both get into the playoff, and then they're supposed to play a 3rd time in 4 weeks.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
I mean, you got to think like this, Maz. You're not using your brain, Maz.
Hey, you know what? Hey, middle finger to you, buddy. Middle finger to you for being right.
Listen, blow East, West up, okay? I don't give a damn.
Throw a pin at you. You're right, okay? Damn it, you're right.
Son of a gun.
I know, right? Aren't you mad? He was right.
I hate that.
Damn it, he called us. He called us, man.
Ermanni and Edwards.
I'm not saying it. No, I'm not saying it.
The bottom line, Woodward Sports Network.
I'm not saying it.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, don't I look good today? Look at that.
I do too.
Just take a good look.
I do too.
I do too.
You're fine.
You know why I look good today,
Fine
Maz?
and handsome.
Because I saw one of my favorite stylists here at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Shout out to Becca over there, took care of me today, gave me just a little bit of a style
Just a little
today.
style, okay.
You know who also looks good? Brady Quinn.
He did.
You know, Brady Quinn going to come into town. He's going to come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men because that's what we do. Fellas, don't you want to look good? If you want to look good and you want to do it in a simple way, just walk in, sign in, sit down with our beautiful stylist here at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Multiple locations all across the great state of Michigan and also around the country. If you're listening in another state, look for Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men near you. It is wicked awesome. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Best ability is availability. And there you go. They've got it all here at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome. Wicked awesome. Yeah, champs. That we are the champions. Take a look at it. We are the Fowling champions of 2021. Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni.
This is what we do.
You guys got the bye.
This is what we do. You know why we
got the easy bracket.
You know why we got the bye? Because we were the best team.
Right.
And you know why we were the best team? Because we went out there and
because you told everyone you were the best team.
No, actually, we beat
it.
everybody. That means we were the best team.
We went out and proved it, Fish.
Hey, you know what? Hey, don't get too excited. We don't have to. Don't get too excited. We'd be nice and we'd be humble about the win.
I don't know if you guys listen to Big D Energy 11 to 1 Woodward Sports Network every weekday, Monday through Friday, but they were smart. They were talking smack because Neil Will had other stuff with Oakland Grizzlies. Go Grizzlies. D-Mac, I guess, was only there for half the day, and Joik showed up whenever he showed up.
Joik was
so
good.
They were two things. One, like he just said, the best ability is availability, and he wasn't available to play. Neil will apologize for that, and also, cry me a river.
Anyways, they were relating it to Michigan's conference schedule, or just any conference schedule, and saying that when they play you guys, Neil and Joik and D-Mac, whoever they choose to pair up with, they would beat you guys.
But here's the other thing about it. See, Darren McCarthy was there for the whole time. Not throwing shade at anybody. Darren McCarthy was there for the whole time. We were there in the beginning, correct? He jumped in the team picture. He was there when we picked teams. He was ready to play. If D-Mac had this much energy about beating myself and my counterpart, whatever it is, my teammate, my better half over there, Ryan Ermanni.
Yes, sir.
If he had this much to say, then when we were getting teams together, then he should have picked a teammate, and he should have wanted to play us right then and there, but he didn't.
T-Mac said he beat you in the preseason.
No, he said he beat Ryan, which is BS. Nobody plays his starters in the preseason, and he didn't play his best game. He was just trying to find the loft, find the angle.
Gotcha.
That's what happened.
Did I impress you a little bit yesterday?
Hey, I tell you like this. What I learned about my teammate, he never came out of the game. So I am now a believer in these Grosse Pointe soft stories. The mythological number 35, the man, the myth, the legend. He never came out the game. I'm on the team now, man. I'm on the train.
Can you believe
Sky
I'm
right
not
here?
Can you believe I'm not in the Hall of Fame yet?
I don't know what happened.
I mean,
they are tripping.
What are they doing over there?
Grosse Pointe South, you guys, hey, we're going to start a petition.
Fowling champion. Never came
That's what
out
we
of the
do,
game.
man.
All right.
Hey, I do want to make mention about Notre Dame's schedule about this. You look at this. Is it Notre Dame's fault? I mean, just close your eyes for a second.
Is it Cincinnati's fault? That's exactly what he's going to say next.
No, but look, is it Notre Dame? Because these schedules
I know who they play,
take place years prior to
yes, we
the
know.
game.
We understand that.
Florida State,
they suck.
Purdue,
they suck.
Wisconsin in a down year.
At Soldier Field.
Okay, so they got Cincinnati, USC,
They suck.
North Carolina was a top 10 team at the start of the year.
Sam Howell was a top 10 player at the beginning of the year.
Mediocre.
Stanford.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Stanford beat
3-9. But
they beat Oregon.
I mean, Stanford is a former Pac-10, Pac-12 champ.
Yeah, when Andrew was there.
If you got Florida State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Cincinnati, Virginia Tech, ACC, USC, UNC, Stanford, there's 8 games. None of those teams are good.
No, they play the
out
schedule.
Out of the teams that you just said, 6 of those teams have been in a conference championship within the last 4 years.
Yeah, right. So I mean, how do you knock them for their schedule? You know, I mean, it's one of those things where you are.
Pick a side, man.
Pick a side. Okay, very good. Speaking of picking a side, so this Brian Kelly situation at Notre Dame
he's a beaut.
Just beautiful.
It's great.
You know, I will tell you, I have learned more about Brian Kelly in the last 36 hours than I ever have in my life.
Yeah.
What a jerk. What a total jerk.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a real beaut.
So there's a story.
Oh, we got proof.
There's a story going around that Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, and Robert Saleh of the New York Jets were graduate assistants in Central Michigan University when Kelly was the head coach there. On a winter night in Mount Pleasant, Matt LaFleur and Robert Saleh thought they were being invited to a party at the house of their boss, Central Michigan University football coach Brian Kelly. Turns out they weren't on the guest list. They were on the worker list. This is from ESPN.com. Quote, We shoveled snow and parked all their cars, Salah said. Then, at the end of the night, we had to go get the cars again, end quote. And then they went back to their tiny apartment they shared as graduate assistants and stood around their kitchen table, and they didn't have any chairs. Quote, we decided when we're in that position, we're never going to treat people that way again, said Salah. Now, at the time, the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator, and Matty's lived up to it. So Salah and Matt LaFleur thought they were going to a party, and he made them shovel snow and park cars.
Side note, before you jump back into that, if you're just listening to that story, if you're a movie historian, that sounds like a movie. I'll tell you what movie it is.
Coming to America?
My brother. McDowell's invited Simi and Akeem to a party.
Yeah.
When they arrived, he had red suit tuxedos for them to be valet attendants, to park cars. They shoveled snow before they got there, and then they also served drinks. Doesn't that sound exactly like Coming to America?
He was trying to be Mr. McDowell.
You can tell, hey, I don't like Brian Kelly, but I like the fact that he loves Coming to America.
You know, what a jerk. And then there's that photo on the sidelines from 10 years ago or whatever, him giving Tommy Reese the middle finger on the sidelines.
He's quite the card.
He's going to the right. He's going to the right state.
I am definitely rooting against Brian Kelly.
He's going to win.
As you have on purple.
Yeah.
Hey, he's going to win. He is a great football coach.
Yeah.
He gets it.
He does.
I mean, he was with Grand Valley, right? Back in the day.
Grand Valley, 13 years.
Central Michigan.
Cincinnati took over for Mark D'Antonio.
He did.
He wins. He's a winner. He is a great football coach. He's a schmuck, but he's a great football coach.
There's a lot of guys that are schmucks, so he's not exclusive to that. And
we're not sure what kind of guy Nick Saban is really. He kind of is a schmuck.
His players love him though.
Yeah.
When your players love you, I tend to ride with the coach if I don't know him. If your players love you, I've never heard a player say anything bad about Nick Saban, regardless of what we thought about him not being very lively, although he is now. His players love him. The interesting thing is when we talked about USC and LSU, we talked about which one was the job that you wanted. I said LSU was the better job. I thought it was the better job. Having all of those recruits in the state of Louisiana, he's about to have a field day.
Yeah.
He's about to have a feast.
And like your dad said, Stan said it the other day, Nick Saban's only sticking around a couple more years.
You know what?
He's going to own the SEC.
I wouldn't be shocked if Saban won the national championship this year if he called it a career.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think they're going to win the national championship because I think they're losing to Georgia, and I think they're going to lose soundly, actually.
Yeah.
But
I got Alabama over Georgia.
Again, until they play it out, and there's no way to prove this because I don't think Alabama's winning the national championship. But if they did, I think this might be it for Saban. What more does this guy have to prove?
Well, I'm sure he just loves what he does.
Yeah, but he's 70 years old, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's 70 years old.
What did I say on this show about
looks younger than ever?
About 6-7 weeks ago, I said he looks younger than ever. He's smiling. He's having fun. I haven't seen Nick Saban in this many commercials in the entirety of his career. He's legitimately in about 8 national commercials right now. Every week, there is a new Aflac commercial with him and Deion Sanders, who won, by the way, I said it again, he won SWAC Coach of the Year in his first year. Shout out to Prime. Like, he's having so much fun. We played the clip yesterday where he was smiling on the sideline after the win.
Remember how gruff he used to be when you tried to interview him? Now he's like, all right, give me that mic.
Like, he won't stop talking now. Like, he's having fun. I'm telling you, older men, they do that when they know they're at their role, whatever that job is, whatever. It might even be life sometimes. You see older individuals that are mean and gruff-faced, they start to loosen up and be happy. You're like, either 1, you're retiring, or 3, you're dying.
Bill Parcells.
I damn sure know he's not dying.
Bill Parcells.
Same thing.
Same thing. You know what? They're playing with house money. They've done everything already. Yeah. This is all gravy.
He's the winningest coach of all time.
This is gravy.
And I do think look, if you're Nick Saban, seriously, if you think about this for a minute, have you considered how many lives he's changed?
Generations.
Just how many lives his one life has affected in terms of
that's a good point.
Players that have come to play for him,
their families, their
grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of lives that one person affected by picking up the phone and saying, "Come play for me."
Yeah.
And even the players that don't go pro, they just got a 4-year experience with one of the great leaders of all time. Yeah. And if you're around, you don't have to be a professional athlete to go make millions to find success in leadership, right? I mean, if you are around a great leader, you know what you become?
A great leader.
A great leader.
A great leader.
You become somebody that people want to gravitate around because of people like Nick Saban. So you may hate him because all he does is win. Not you, I'm just saying you in general.
You in general.
Because in sports, we root against the Lakers and the Yankees and all these great teams and Brady. And we root against Nick Saban in Alabama now in many cases. But if you take a step back and just think about the number of lives one person has affected, it's just countless. It is countless.
It's real, and you look at, I look at Lloyd Carr. Yeah, I take it to Lloyd Carr. And I think about how many players that he's touched. We have a special guest for you guys on Friday. I won't blow it right now. But the guest that I'm talking about, he works in the space with Hall of Fame Health. They work with hips and knee replacement. You look at Charles Woodson. Outside of football, he has his bourbon collection. He has his wine collection. All the giving and philanthropy that he does to my children, hospitals, Tom Brady, and the list goes on. Look at Ron Bellamy and what he was able to do. Ron Bellamy was able to take what he learned from Lloyd, take it to West Bloomfield High School, now take it back to the University of Michigan, Mike Hart included. He's touched so many people, and it extends beyond football. I learned be on time, and being on time does not mean if it starts at 2, be there at 2. That means it starts at 2, you be there at 1:45. That was one of the biggest things I learned from him. And also, it's not about you. Be a person that gives to a cause greater than themselves. 2 biggest things I learned from Lloyd Carr.
No doubt about that. Absolutely a great man. And guys, I've teased it long enough. Coming up next, immediately after this break, we will get to Brian Kelly's address to the Notre Dame team. Also, he was on with Dan Patrick earlier today. We'll get you that cut as well. One of the questions that Dan Patrick asked to Brian Kelly was, is there any proper way to say goodbye? Because this 4-minute address to the Fighting Irish getting knocked pretty good around the country. We'll get it all to you next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 5-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Hey, gang, want to let you know about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac in Dearborn on Michigan Avenue. Maz, didn't we send somebody there today? Did we not?
Kennedy should be there right now, trying to trade in her jalopy to get something new.
Look at that.
How about that?
You know, Kennedy is selling her car back to Les Stanford Chevrolet, and she is buying one from them.
Yes.
That's how it works. That's the way you make the Ooh-wee.
Simple.
And quick. That's what Les Stanford Chevrolet provides you. You want to buy a car, they got one for you. New, pre-owned, whatever the case may be, any make, any model. It's yours. They got it. You want to sell your car, you go in, you walk out with thousands. That's how it works. It's very easy. It doesn't matter whether you own the car or lease the car. That's because Les Stanford Chevrolet is your authorized lease return center. Authorized, he says. Fish, you got one for me?
Pick up the phone.
Pick it up.
Ooh-wee.
Authorized.
Find new roads.
That's right. You want to find new roads, you got to go
No
to Les
chip
Stanford.
shortage.
No shortage.
Lots of inventory.
Lots of inventory. Here you go. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com. 313-565-6000. 313-565-6000.
Chevy Will, Ollie Rita.
Come on.
What a cast of characters.
Weston and Danny.
World's best.
Oh, man. Come on. We got you covered here. Les Stanford Chevrolet. You want to go find new roads. Find them.
Is there a tactful way to say goodbye?
Never. It's always difficult because of, things get leaked and they get out to the media before you can actually get in front of your guys. I did the best I could. I was on the road recruiting, and things got, out to the media before. But I was able to send a note to my guys and then get in front of them yesterday at 7 a.m. and tell them I love them. I love my guys, and they know I love them. And I think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country, and they deserve to play in the college football playoffs.
They got to change this. Somebody in college football has to change when a coach can be contacted. There's got to be some sort of tampering. Yeah. You got to be able to finish out your season. Something has to be done about it right now.
I told you, NFL protects the Super Bowl.
Yes.
You got to protect your Super Bowl, which is your playoff.
Period. End of story. Now, I believe he was in Detroit recruiting, and I don't remember the player. The player's name escapes me right now.
Probably the quarterback from Quin.
I don't know who it was.
Was it Robbie Ermanni?
No, it wasn't. Should be, though. I don't know if he's there yet, but we'll see. But, Maz, you brought up an important point. Who was he recruiting for on that recruiting trip?
He was recruiting for LSU.
There's no doubt about it. Like, why would he be recruiting for Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Like at that point, to be fair, he may have gone under the premise of Notre Dame. This trip, it may have been set up under the premise of Notre Dame because he was at Notre Dame, and it's guarantee you. But once he got there, he probably shared with that family. Just to let you know, he was the first player that was told. He was the first player, not the guys that he had.
Made him feel special.
Apparently, he had to leave the house.
Exactly. I guarantee you, he told these parents, "Hey, look, it's about to go down. I'm going to LSU. We still want to recruit you at LSU, but I got to get the hell out of here. I got to get the hell out of here."
So one of the players got his phone into the team room.
I was waiting for
Brian Kelly had an address to the Notre Dame players. It's 2 parts. It's about 4 minutes in total. The first, because Twitter only allows you to put about 2 minutes and 20 seconds up. Right. So the first part, and then we'll get to the second part right quickly afterwards. 2 minutes and 20 seconds of Brian Kelly's address to Notre Dame's football team.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for coming here so early in the morning. I really appreciate it. Obviously, there's a lot going on. The way we're going to do this is Brian's going to speak to you briefly, and then I'll be back up here. I want to share a few thoughts with you, but I want to mainly answer any questions you have about anything. So turn it over to Brian, then I'll be back up.
Thanks, Chad. Morning, guys. Thanks for getting up here in short order, short notice. As you know, I sent out a text last night trying to give you as much notice as possible, given the circumstances that we all know that happen relative to social media and information getting out. And look, I know we've been through this together. I've recruited virtually everybody in this room. And I want to be able to tell you face to face, why we're at where we're at. And that is very simply that the past 12 years have been the most incredible 12 years of my life, for me and my family, being here at Notre Dame. Magical in what we've been able to build with the most incredible student athletes, the ones that I'm looking at right now. And so many times people look at for a reason to blame, or there was a reason for something. There was nothing here but first class in everything that Notre Dame has done for me and my family. I saw my time here as a blessing, working with incredible men on a day-to-day basis. But there comes a time where you look in your life for another opportunity. And I felt like it was time in my life for another challenge. And I saw that opportunity in a very short window, and felt that it was best for me and my family to pursue a new.
So that's the first part of the Brian Kelly, and I do want to courtesy Barstool Sports for getting that video and putting that up. You could hear a pin drop in that room. Jack Swarbrick, the Notre Dame athletic director, introducing Brian Kelly.
It's early in the morning as well. Everyone's sleepy.
Yeah, exactly.
7 in the morning. You're telling your team to come.
Right.
Hey,
7 in the morning.
Guess what? Them kids wasn't asleep.
Before we react, here's the final minute and a half of this. Notice at the end when Brian Kelly just leaves and there's no clapping, no nothing. Notice this. Here it is. Part 2.
Pursue a new challenge. And so there's no one to blame. There's nobody that's at fault. Nobody did anything wrong. You guys have been the backbone of this program and what you've accomplished, and will continue to do that. I think you're one of the 4 best teams in the country. Jack is going to get somebody that will continue to lead this program in incredible fashion. I don't know what it holds for us moving forward, but I hope the heck it means that you're playing for the national championship, because you absolutely deserve it. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every one of you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you directly, because you don't get that chance very often. And to thank you for allowing me to pursue what I love to do, and that's develop 18 to 21-year-olds. And you will continue to achieve at the highest level and have great success no matter what moves forward for you. So again, thank you. I love each and every one of you. And for me, more than anything else, it's a sad day, but one where I know that each one of you are going to do great things, and you've got more to accomplish. So I wish everybody here the very best, and thank you for the opportunity that you've given me and my family. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Nothing.
Crickets.
Thank you, guys. Nothing. Braylon, how would you have reacted if that was you as a college kid, kind of left at the altar on the verge of a college football playoff appearance, a very real shot at it, your coach just ditches you? How would you feel about that? What do you think of the reaction in that room?
One, it was well-deserved. I wouldn't have clapped for him. He'd kiss my ass. Second thing, one of the biggest things that he said in that I pay attention to, I think you guys are one of the top 4 teams in the country. I think you are one of the top 4 teams in the country. we built this together. Shouldn't it be? I think we were one of the top 4 teams in the country. Remember all those mornings in the summer when I didn't want to get up, and you made me get up, you made me practice, you made me put up forth the effort, you made me go through it, you checked on me, you made sure my grades were up, you told me what it meant to be an Irishman, or whatever the hell it is you guys say down there in South Bend. You talked about play like a champ today, talked about being honest. I guarantee you there were some conversations about being accountable, about being loyal, about being able to be trusted, about being there to the man to your right, to your left, and then all of a sudden you just leave. Like, listen, as a 38-year-old man, I understand Brian Kelly's decision to leave, and I actually agree with it. LSU is going to be a better spot for him. He'll have the chance to win his national championship. I think I understand Lincoln Riley's. I think his decision was actually a little easy to understand. But for those kids that you told you were going to be there, for those kids that you've talked to, you've had the rhetoric with, you've had those early morning conversations, you've talked to their families when they were effing up, you talked to their families when they were doing good. You were in their living rooms, like you said, when they were 15, 16, 17, and you recruited them. Hey, Ryan Ermanni makes a great point. You have to find a way, NCAA, to rectify this. Because like I said, as a 38-year-old former player, I get it, I understand it, and I don't wish him luck, but I understand his decision to go to LSU. But as a 19-year-old, as a 20-year-old, what do you do now? I wish Lloyd Carr would have done something like this. Like, we would have fought Lloyd Carr if he would have done something like that. We would have legitimately called him outside, like, where do you think you're going? I'm joking. I would not have put hands on Lloyd Carr. I'm joking. I'm having fun. But I just don't understand how you do that to kids, or at least have the conversation before. Somehow, you got to let these kids know that this is a decision process. Like, this is what's on the table. Because even if you do it then, I guarantee you it's easier it softens the blow. It softens the blow. But the way in which it happened, the way in which the NCAA is allowing these situations to happen, the way in which Brian Kelly walked in there, he sent them a text, for goodness sake, the night before, and then walked in there at 7 a.m. They got to do better. They got to do better. It's unacceptable.
Luke Fickell hasn't talked to his team yet. That's all I'm saying. But he will.
Speaking of Luke Fickell.
He will.
Speaking of Luke Fickell, we got a good Luke Fickell video for you guys later on.
Yeah, we'll get to Luke Fickell. Also, guys, should we get into some Lions talk? Do we have to?
I guess we could do a minute.
Dan Campbell has a message to his team. Yeah, just a little bit. We'll talk a little Lions. Ermanni and Edwards.
World Sports
Do
Network.
we have to?
The bottom line. You guys are the top 4. Man, give me a break with that BS.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
How about it? How about that Fowling Warehouse? And my boys up front here, yep, they took the first prize yesterday in the Woodward Sports first annual Fowling Tournament. I gotta
time after time.
I gotta live with these guys now. But they got the trophies up there and everything. You guys can do the same thing. What's Fowling? Hey guys, what's Fowling? Tell people what Fowling is.
Bowling with a football that you throw at bowling pins.
You rotate turns. It's like beer pong in essential. Your teams of 2. You rotate turns. I throw one, the team throws one back. Ryan throws one, team throws one back. Try to knock down all the pins. First team knock down the pins, you win. If you do it consistently and you beat everybody, you get one of these.
Ooh, that's right. That's right.
I left mine at home. That's Ryan.
So the Fowling Warehouse in Hamtramck, our great host Chris and Noni Hutt, they show you what to do. They explain the rules to you. Not only that, you can bring your whole team there. You can bring your corporation there. Have your team party. The place is huge. You got to love it. It's in Hamtramck. 2 ways to play. $10 $10 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation, $120 for 2 hours. You can fit 10 people on a lane. They got over 100 beers and a $2 mystery machine.
100 beers?
I did the mystery machine.
Oh, my God.
The $2 mystery machine beer. What beer did you get, Braylon?
I don't think it was a mystery. I got Coke 45.
That's a malt liquor.
Billy D was coming out of the vending machine. Little Billy D. Williams.
We saw Pabst Blue Ribbon come out of there. We saw some summer shandies coming out of there. They got the multiple full bars, great bartenders. You bring the food in. Thanks to Happy's, by the way. Happy's Pizza last night and wings, outstanding. We're going to hopefully have more of that coming up. So get your foal on at the Fowling Warehouse. Check them out at fowlingwarehouse.com.
Oh, here it is. Watch this. So hold on. Show that video again. So I got to explain what this video is. You see the guy. You see the guy run on the lane as I'm about to knock the 3 pins down. You see me. I'm pissed. We almost lost this game, by the way, to Christina of Keller Williams. Shout out to Christina and Keller Williams. Maddie, Woodward Sports Network, has a cannon for an arm. We were going down, man.
She's a power lifter.
Yeah, I know, because she threw that ball like Montana. So what I was gonna say is thank you to Jason, the Guardian, for coming through. Jason,
oh man,
Jason from Guardian. Jason is funny as hell. Jason, I had a good time. Video. Jason, thanks for coming out. Nicole, Hall Financial, we love Nicole. We love always being around Nicole. Nicole comes in and they do the Hall Financial update and report once every 2 weeks. Love you guys. Christina, I just talked about Keller Williams. Want to get you on board. Hey, you see what you can be a part of. This is a great thing. And obviously, Chris. Well, we appreciate you and Chris over there. Hey, he's the inventor.
Chris Hutt, baby.
Of Fowling. Yep. Like, I learned 2 new rules about Fowling that I never knew. One, I didn't know once the ball hit the ground that you couldn't block it. You have to wait for it to get past the pins all the way. I thought as soon as it hit wherever, you can move it. And then 2, you can't touch the pins until the pins finish doing their thing. I thought once the pins fall, you can get them off the pin.
How about the big rule?
The bonk?
If you just take the 5 pin out, you win the game automatically.
So
like an 8 ball.
Yep, and they ring they have the horn.
The freighter horn.
The freighter horn.
Which is, if you guys don't know, that's the hockey horn they ring in the ice rinks.
He said it's louder than that even.
Because it was all it's like empty. It's like all that is.
It's all good, man. It was
Happy's
great.
Pizza was good too. Appreciate Happy's Pizza.
Hey, man.
What a great experience. You know what?
Great.
I love this team.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like we all got together yesterday. Woodward Sports Network, every show coming.
Big D Energy was there.
Who hid in the team picture? Who hid?
Fish. What were you hiding
Fish
for?
was hiding.
He was like right next to me.
I'm not a picture person. My dad's the same way. We're just not picture people. We know what all the people.
Don't blame it on your dad. We're gonna get you out of there.
Fish,
we know what all the people look like because we're with them.
Silence, Fish.
I know what you look like. I know what you look like. I know what Alex and Maz.
It's not about you knowing what we look like. It's
documenting
a moment
history
in life. It's a moment in time. When I look back at the team pictures of Michigan, I get to see guys that were on the team from my freshman year that you might forget, that you haven't seen. You're like, oh man, I remember Elaine Kashama. Remember that name? Elaine Kashama?
Yeah,
The Nigerian Nightmare. So yeah, man, like it's for documenting moments for life. So it's all, and we're gonna get you next time. We're not letting you do that again.
Well, we had 2 pictures actually. We had one before Joik Bell came and Stick moved me to the front, so I was expecting the same thing to happen. And you were right there. You could have moved me too. Stick could have moved me.
Fish.
Oh, you can blame me. Okay.
And Alex,
I didn't blame you. I just said you could have done something.
Alex wanted a piece of the champs over here too.
He wanted to team up with Maz.
Now you and Maz, Alex, you and Maz teamed up together. Is that how it was?
Maz instantly said, "I'm going with Alex."
Yeah, it didn't end up very well. I won't expose Maz in front of 400 people. I called him out yesterday in front of the team, but I won't do it again today.
I sucked the first game, but the second game I was better.
In all honesty, Braylon and I should probably not have been able to
be on the same team.
It
was unfair.
But yeah, we did want a piece of you, but Ryan loves his kids, and
I had to get it.
Nobody wants it. The one thing I do appreciate about yesterday, and then we can get back to the Lions for 0.2 seconds, is usually when you had these holiday Christmas parties, these office Christmas parties, or these team building type events, you'll get clicking up. You'll have you'll have this show, or if it's Hall Financial, they have a couple people in this department or this department. Like, not everybody is involved with everybody.
Yes.
Yesterday, everybody was involved with everybody. There was no hiding. There was no not speaking. Everyone talked to everybody. It shows you what we're doing here at Woodward Sports is working.
Our girls from Planet Fitness were even there.
Oh, they were. And
Yep.
she actually said she had my Cleveland Browns jersey.
There you go.
Get out of here. You kidding me?
She says she wears it every game. I said, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because it may be bringing them luck. It may not be. I don't know.
Yeah, they came up from Toledo.
I know, right? They were kind of off to the side. I said, and then when she started talking, I said, "Oh, Planet Fitness." So,
and
I
wanted to give a shout out to Spencer Raxter too, because Spencer,
Not Rattler.
the Rattler,
Not Rattler. Not Spencer Rattler, though.
the Raxter,
said Rattler,
right?
yeah.
That's
Our
our guy.
Spencer
Our
Raxter, our Spencer Raxter
has
because
on a Suns shirt today.
he was back here holding the shop down while we were all there, and
Inside the locker room.
shout out to him for making this place go. It takes everybody. It takes a team effort, and we certainly appreciate everybody.
Oh, that's right. They were doing the locker room yesterday.
Hopefully, Joey brought up some Happy's Pizza and wings.
Happy's Pizza, ribs, and chicken
And,
drum
barbecue.
Tastes great.
That's my favorite part of the jingle. That's my favorite. Shout out to the locker room. Congratulations on Michigan State beating Penn State. Like we talked, that was a hell of a game.
Right.
That Penn State-Michigan State game was a hell of a game.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
no doubt about that. Guys, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, talk some Lions. We'll do it next.
I thought we just did.
Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Get it, man.
Get in Greer.
Live on Woodward Sports, it's the Lions pregame show, covering everything you need to know for game day. Join pros and Joes as we cover our hometown Detroit Lions.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
All right, there we go. Very good.
Fish! Are you falling asleep?
I saw a reed in his hand.
I did
I
have a
saw
read in my
paper
hand.
in his hand. I was expecting a
Let's do a
reed.
Guardian Alarm read. We're going to do it right now.
Bring
I
it
got
back.
in my hand. You ready?
Bring it back.
Are
Bring
you
it
ready?
back.
Here
I'm
we
ready.
go. All
I'm ready.
right. All right. Don't you want that black and yellow sign in front of your
Black and
house?
yellow,
You
black
guys
and
know
yellow.
exactly what that sign
Yes, we
signifies.
do.
Don't you? What does it mean, fellas?
Iowa Hawkeyes.
Steelers.
Stay
There we go.
Oh, that's right. It means stay out. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts for over 90 freaking years. 90 freaking years,
decades,
Alex.
baby.
That's right. You'll never believe it. Guardian Alarm, state-of-the-art technology, help you feel safe. 24/7 local monitoring. Yes, they're going to monitor everything, help you lock, unlock your doors, whatever the case may be. You can control your lights, your temperatures. All you got to do is make one call.
What is that call, man?
You know what that number is, Braylon?
I'm ready.
It is 1-800. Stay out! Stay out of my house! Get out!
Stay out.
1-800. Stay out! Get out of here!
Stay out.
Jason's going to stay in front of my house and say, stay out.
Stay out!
He's already in front of us.
Guardian Alarm.
coming to the shores.
Your local security experts.
Oh, man.
Stay out. Get out of here.
There's the music.
Stay out.
There we go. Stay out.
Stay out. Get out of here.
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Detroit Lions, that's right. They got a big home game against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings.
How many people will stay out of Ford Field this
Seriously,
week?
that's a great question. That is a great question, Maz. How many people are going to...
I'll go.
Give me an over-under on attendance at Ford Field this week.
42,000.
35,000 is a great number.
35,000.
Yeah. Probably
Because I think you
probably
can
40.
probably see 37-ish thousand there.
Oh, my God. Really?
35,000.
You really think?
Dude, they're
35,000.
0-10-1.
I know. It's still
There's
professional football.
But again, there's nobody you're interested in seeing.
I want to see the Vikings.
Yeah, that's one thing. But, you know, there's no, like, Calvin Johnson or Matt Stafford.
I'm not even watching for the Lions
I know,
anymore.
nobody's going to wow
I'm not
you.
watching for them.
Who's wowing you on the Vikings?
I just like watching them. I like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook's out,
Dalvin
but
Cook's not
Madison's going to play. I don't know. I just like the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, I dig them.
Here's the interesting thing about the Detroit Lions as they play the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. That was kind of sexy. That was kind of
real
sexy.
good,
I
real
set
good,
that
real
up.
good.
No, I'm just joking. Minnesota has lost a lot of games that they should win too. Minnesota is the winning version of the Detroit Lions this particular season. Obviously, they have a lot more talent, but they legitimately have lost a lot of games that they could have won as well. Minnesota Vikings are 5-6?
Yes,
and they could easily be 9-2.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. Maybe this is a game they tried to give us the last one. Maybe this is a game the Lions win. I'm not saying they do. I think they'll get blown out. But based on how Minnesota has been playing this season, maybe this is the game that the Minnesota Vikings say, "Oops, my bad.
Yeah.
Here you go."
Oh, you know almost kept that on the table too.
You know why I'm going to go? I want to look for Mike Zimmer's girlfriend.
Ooh,
check
I want to look for Mike Zimmer's 40-year-old supermodel girlfriend.
How?
I want to talk to her and say, man, Mike Zimmer. I love Mike Zimmer. How do you not look
Gained
up?
a lot of street cred.
How do you not look up to him?
Gained a lot of street cred. I don't know if we've got a photo of her and that.
We got to get one.
We probably could find one.
Yeah. My
But
goodness.
Mike Zimmer dating, he's
How does that
65.
even happen?
He's 65. He's dating a 40-year-old supermodel from Australia. She's, I think she's Yugoslavian, but she's an Australian
Gorgeous.
supermodel.
You know,
she's
a lot.
gorgeous.
You don't think you know that? That's a I know for
Right?
sure. That's not a I think. You know.
Well, she says she loves the way he carries himself. Just don't forget, he's got the one thing in his back pocket. It is a Seinfeld line. The number one thing for like an older guy or not a good-looking guy to get a pretty woman is to have a fiance or a wife that has passed away. George used it. George used
terrible,
it.
Man.
I'm just telling you. In Seinfeld, they said that's the number one thing
It is
to get a lady. Oh yeah,
I have seen it in the movies and the TV shows. I haven't seen it in real life, but I've seen it in the movies and TV shows.
Well, it happened to Mike Zimmer.
It does work.
It happened
according to the movies and TV.
Dan Campbell did talk earlier about the message to his team. Here's what he had to say. Dan Campbell.
Yeah, the message is you know that we got 6 to go, and we're playing spoiler now. I mean, we're trying to ruin people's day is what we're trying to do, and so you know, how do we improve on the things that we've done a good job of and make it a little bit better, and then certainly the things that continue to show up, how do we help? But I think now it's all about, you know, how do we make these last 6 opponents kind of have to deal with what we've dealt with for the season.
If you close your eyes and listen to Dan Campbell, he sounds like Peyton Manning.
Ooh,
I don't know if he's from.
He does a little bit.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
I don't know if he's from New Orleans or Louisiana like Peyton, but I know he's country. But I don't know if he's from that part of the country. But he sounds just like Peyton Manning.
One of the things, and you'll get a chance to listen to him again, he did talk about his defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. Look, the Lions defense is playing, in all seriousness, pretty good football.
With the exception of 2 games, they've been the main driving force of the Lions.
Yeah, 3 straight games that they've held their opponents under 20 points. Aaron Glenn and the defense getting those guys to play very well. Dan Campbell spoke about that. And you can close your eyes and listen and see if you hear Peyton Manning's voice in there.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Or just close your ears.
One of them.
Those guys have, you know, AG and those guys have, I think, done a dang good job of trying to maximize what we've got. Everything, you know, just maximizing our staff, but also the players, trying to put them in position to have success. And there again, when you're able to, you know, it doesn't always like defense. It's easy to say, you know, well, you just, if you want to be a good defense, don't allow yardage, but it's not the yards. It really is the points. And our guys are doing that right now. And we're able to limit the run, you know, which really helps us. We're kind of making teams a little more one-dimensional. But it says a lot, because ultimately all you can ask for your defense is to give you a chance. And to that point and to that stat, you would say they are giving us a chance. Now, there's things we got to clean up that at the end of the day, when you're talking about defense, your job is not to allow the opponent to score more than your offense. You know, that's what you're charged with too. But I feel like those guys are, you know, they're banging away over there.
Well, Here's the November records of
better
the
than LA.
Lions and the Rams. The Lions do have a better November record
They lead the Rams by a half game.
than the LA Rams. The Lions 0-2-1 in the month of November. The LA Rams 0-3. Maz, you get a kick out of this stuff,
I do.
don't you?
I love stuff like
I
this.
mean, you got a kick out of that. You kept saying, "Hey, look at the tweet. Look at the tweet."
I'm
You
sorry,
love that
man.
stuff.
I search around for all this stuff.
I love that you love this stuff. Now, I've been waiting all day to ask you what game will you be watching tonight on the NFL Network.
Well, I hope it's going to be the Packers
Dallas?
and Rams again.
Probably.
It'll be the Packers and Rams again. But I already have that on my DVR, so I hope it's a different game.
What about Dallas and Oakland?
Dallas and Oakland? I watched
Or
already,
Dallas
and I
and
have that on my
Vegas.
DVR.
Yeah.
So there weren't many good games on Sunday.
When do you record these games?
Oh, you know what? Kevin Burkhardt. I'll tell you what game it is. I bet you it's the Colts.
I knew it was going to be the Colts.
The Colts and the
They lost.
Buccaneers.
Are you ready? This might shock you.
Colts Buccaneers.
It is Vegas Raiders and the Cowboys Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Look at that.
That's what he just said.
I already have that game.
I will tell you that Kevin Burkhardt
You should
calls
stop
a nice
DVRing
game.
the game.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
He's the best in the business.
Wow.
The best in the business.
What about Sean McDonough?
This guy is better.
Really?
Kevin Burkhardt.
He threw a flag on the.
Kevin Burkhardt calls the best game, and he'll never get the number one spot because Joe Buck's there. And if he goes to CBS, he won't get the number one there because Nance is there. But Kevin Burkhardt,
Hello, friends.
he is the best, and they have him hooked up with a guy that they want to be really good.
Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen is raw yet, but he has the potential to be
Greg
very
Olsen
good.
was a little raw for me.
Yeah.
Because there was no, and
He don't get it
we're
yet.
announcer guys. We're announcer guys.
You see, I tapped out a while ago.
Right. We're announcer guys. Now, Greg Olsen is really good at the actual content of
Right.
what he says.
Right.
Is good, but it's way too like monotone.
He don't have it yet.
You,
but he will.
Like you gotta really,
He's not Tony.
Right.
He's not. Right. Okay, Jim.
You
here
gotta
comes.
be excited when there's something to be excited about. You know what I mean? Like
He's trying to figure it out. But the one thing I will say about being an announcer, being a commentator, especially when you come from being a player, is people think because you're a player, it's easy to give content.
Yep.
Let me tell you, it's not. Because a lot of players don't pay attention to the other side of the ball. So as an offensive player, sometimes they don't pay attention to defense. And defense sometimes doesn't pay to offense. And then also, it's sometimes hard to put the content that you know. Like, we know a ton of football terminology because we played the game forever. It's hard sometimes to condense it into layman's terms, like on the fly as you're going. Like, you're watching the game, you're excited. You can easily like, oh, they're in cover 4 right now. So what you probably see right here is they're going to come in motion. What they're doing when they come in motion is they're trying to see what the coverage is. Like, you dive into you as a player.
It's a new language.
But you have to condense that language, and you have to add some layman's terms mixed in with the football content, and that's not an easy thing to do. So if you say he has that piece, that sometimes is the harder piece. Finding your personality sometimes can be the easier part.
Yeah, I was watching that game on Sunday, and I just found myself being like, man, Kevin Burkhardt calls a nice game.
So good, right? So good.
You know? Like,
so good.
I just, it was great. Anyway, that's my story on the Lions. Look, I don't even care if they win or whether.
No, it don't
it's
matter.
just like,
they're
you know
disgusting.
what? It's
They're
so
disgusting.
gross. It's embarrassing. It's gross.
It is.
You know,
We'll probably get Dick Stockton doing the game this week, and he's retired.
You know, I mean, who is doing the game this
I don't know.
week?
I got to
Chris
look
Myers?
it up. Chris Myers probably.
He's so tired of the Lions.
Everybody's tired of the
It's
Lions,
punishment.
man.
When
I mean,
you get that card and you're like, oh no, I'm going to Detroit.
So that's when you gotta make. That's when you make a phone call. Like, the higher up you are, that's when you can make a phone call. Like, if you get it early enough, like if you're Joe Buck and Troy, they're not gonna turn down the Thanksgiving game. But if it's a regular game, they can be like, "Hey, look, hey, nah, we ain't, me and Troy ain't doing this one."
What do you think Al Michaels bailed on the last 2 games for?
Like, one of the things, it's we have to watch the games, right? We have to watch the Lions because we have to know about the Lions.
I'm joking.
But what about people in Detroit? When you get that 1 o'clock home game as an isolated game based on NFL television rules and regulations.
Why do you think the red zone package makes so much
Right,
money in
but
Detroit alone?
when you get stuck with that 1 o'clock game on Sunday, it's like the worst thing. Alex, did you want to say something? I'm sorry.
So the Vikings-Lions game is shockingly on CBS this week, and Sparrow Dennis and Jay Feely. Jay Feely.
Oh, there we go. We got Jay and Spiro is your guy.
Yeah, I like Spiro.
Spiro Adidas is real
He's
good.
very good.
Is he the Lakers guy? Or no, he's the Nets guy. Brooklyn Nets.
So, see, Maz, you may want to stay home and watch it.
Yeah, maybe I will.
You got your guy.
Spiro Adidas was the Lakers announcer, and then he moved across the country, and now he's the Nets announcer, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Nets
there.
Nets had a good game yesterday. Oh boy, KD.
Yeah.
Did you see what he did to Julius Randle? Pissed Julius Randle off. He put him in the blender, as they say in basketball terminology.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin Burkhart's doing Washington and Vegas.
You're all over it.
Raiders.
All over
Speaking
it.
of Washington,
all over it.
Speaking of Washington football team, Ryan's team, WFT, they are nipping on the heels of the Dallas Cowboys. Don't look too soon. Even though they're still under 500,
Cowboys have a tough Thursday night game too.
But then they have an easy schedule out there. Yeah, they do.
They got a tough Thursday night game on the road at the Saints. We'll talk to Chris Bierman about that tomorrow. He's 3-0 in his Thursday night picks.
Dallas will whoop them.
For us. Just to get you an update, Dallas has a 2-game lead over football team in the NFC East.
Keep in mind, the Saints have given up 77 points on defense and in the last 2 weeks, and defense was their strong suit. That's how they were balancing their season.
Is Amari Cooper coming back?
No, they don't know yet.
This is a crap week for football.
Crazy thing is
terrible.
4 o'clock game. We're gonna get the freaking Ravens and Steelers. Steelers are done.
I think quit showing me the Steelers.
I don't want to see them. They suck.
No.
Yeah.
I'd rather see the Bengals and the Chargers.
You know what? The only good thing is Jim Nantz and Tony Romo will be there.
Well, screw it.
Tony.
Bottom line videos of the day. Maz is excited about a couple of them. Ermanni and Edwards.
GASSED.
Gassed. Who's gassed? I'm not gassed.
Ermanni and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Choosing between a 15 or 30-year mortgage can be difficult, which is why we offer the Modern Mortgage, a flexible term that's customized for you. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Big names, bigger opinions. It's the bottom line on Woodward Sports.
Yesterday when we were at the Fowling Warehouse having an amazing time at Chris Hutt's Invention, which is Fowling, we had some gypsy vodka there. But guess what? I didn't have it because I wanted to be safe and drive responsibly, but I wish I could. This stuff is so good. Infused with artisanal spring water. Corn distilled 6 times. And I keep talking about it. You guys think I'm BSing. You think I'm blowing smoke?
I don't think so.
You think I'm blowing smoke. 50 different formulas were tried and tested and tried and true.
How many?
50.
Get out of here.
Larry Foote.
5-0?
Larry Foote.
Get out of here.
5-0, baby. 50 formulas to find out which one was the perfect one. Which one is the one that you guys were going to vibe with, you guys were going to feel. And guess what? They got the one that mattered.
Don't be ridiculous.
They got the one. I'm telling you, going to your neighborhood liquor store, ask for Gypsy Vodka.
Say you want them to carry Gypsy Vodka.
Actually, you know what? If they don't have it, ask for them to carry Gypsy Vodka.
That's
Tell
right.
them you need it. Tell them, you know what? We want to have a party and we heard it was the best up in town. Adam and Mike, we appreciate you. But if you're going to drink responsibly.
Always.
Mike G just asked, Maz, can we call the people that pass and ask them to black out the lights?
That's so great.
That's great.
You gotta love Mike G, man. Mike G has been here since August 12th. Mike G has been here.
We love Mike G. We love Benjamin.
Yep.
We love
Joey
David,
2 times.
Ryan,
Stevie Brown,
Ryan,
Nick
Haroon,
Hetchian,
Ryan
Jeff,
Haroon,
Tom, my mom,
Tammy,
Joey 2 times,
Patty.
Tammy,
Yeah.
Rochester, Roto Rooter.
There we go.
Oh man, Rooted Rotor.
Kennedy's in there with Al May.
Adam Morrissey.
Al May.
Come on now.
Easy is in there.
Easy.
Even YT Sparty, who's giving everybody the
YT
business
Sparty.
in there. We certainly appreciate it.
Definitely.
Jake Wagner.
Hey, how about that?
Oh, Jake Wagner.
Hey, I tell you like this. You've never seen Michigan State cheer harder for Michigan than they will be cheering this week.
False.
Because if Michigan loses, then Michigan State is out on the January 6th ball.
Ooh.
If Michigan loses,
that's not a guarantee.
If Michigan
will
loses,
Big Ten teams get? If Michigan wins, will 3 Big Ten teams be part of the New Year's Six?
The New Year's
6.
Yeah,
New York 6.
for sure.
Huge,
for sure.
It's huge. It's a huge.
Put it this
coup
way: who
for
in the Big Ten?
And by the way, Alex, that is not false. That is true.
Who in the Big Ten is not, besides Iowa, not rooting for Michigan to win that game? Because if Michigan doesn't win, you know how many millions of dollars the Big Ten loses by not getting in that playoff?
At least 20.
Yeah,
a lot.
This is true.
All right, Maz, what do you got?
How do you not? Let's start with Michigan and Ohio State.
Very good.
This is the Fox super duper camera on this. I wanted to show it to you, and with the volume as well. Let's play it.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I should have stayed home and watched this game. Look at this.
It was great.
Look at this. The things you can do with these drones. Go ahead, Fish.
Go ahead, Fish.
I don't know if you guys saw, but I guess there was a lot of criticism for Fox's game because I guess they didn't use many replays in the second half.
That's what I heard.
They don't. That's the problem.
Why
My
don't they do
brother-in-law hates it.
replays?
Oh, there you go.
Well, maybe they'll get better at the replays. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know, it's hard to do replays, too, when you're doing hurry up. You know what I mean?
This is true. They spent the whole half of the third quarter to the rest of the game. Hurry up.
Everybody wants to see a replay, but there's a hurry up, and then you're going to be arguing that you're not seeing
You
the
just
game.
split the screen. They have that technology.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Silence,
either.
Fish.
Yeah.
You know what, Coach?
Why are you so hard on Fish?
I know. He's
That's a
right
little
next to me.
bit- it's a little
Ryan,
bit
you
too
know
hard.
why. I haven't gone to the gas station to get him anything. That's why.
That's why.
That's just true.
That's why.
You want me to lay off? You want me to lay off everybody, really? You think I'm a mean son of a
nice guy.
bitch, don't
No,
you?
sometimes I think you're a little
Okay.
rough.
You think I am?
Sometimes I think you're
That's
a little
fine.
rough on the kids.
That's fine.
Hey,
I know what I'm doing.
Fish, timestamp 354.
I know what I'm
Yes,
doing.
sir.
Timestamp
I'm a teacher.
Justin.
Teachable
No,
moments.
that's actually allowed.
All right.
BITCH is loud.
That's allowed,
Right.
yeah.
Alex, shut up.
We don't know why, but that's allowed.
I had to say it one time.
7 years ago today, Taysom Hill. I finally found a Taysom Hill
man.
highlight, but he was with BYU at the time. But here it is 7 years ago.
On second down, Hill steps out of pressure and has the seam for a first down. And more hurdles his way. Highlight reel.
Great job of allowing the play to develop. Look at Taysom Hill waiting in the pocket. Finally makes his
Seriously, that's insane.
That's why the Saints give him all those extensions. They're watching this video.
You know the best thing about this, and that was with a DonJoy knee brace. You guys, if you never worn one, those DonJoy knee braces are so heavy and so uncomfortable. I got to give that man some credit for that. That's pretty impressive.
Look at Taysom Hill.
What about, you know who that reminded me of a little bit? Sam McGuffey's YouTube videos.
Oh,
yeah. Remember Sam McGuffey?
I do remember
That was
him.
it. That was the beginning of the end for Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, guys, I know you guys love a little Ron Rivera, a little Riverboat Ron. This is Ron Rivera getting his team ready for Monday Night Football. Check him out.
Oh, yeah!
Everything we need is in this room. Everybody in this room we need. We've got to work together, stay together, and be the team that we can be. We will not take it from anybody. I don't give a shit how they stack it against us. We're whipping it. Now let's play football. Here we go. Team on three. 1, 2, 3. Team!
Didn't even wait for the other hands in there to break it down. I don't know if that's a COVID safety protocol, but I got two questions. I wonder, one, is that the same board, Maz, that Gus Frerotte knocked himself out?
I think it was. I think he did run his head into
the
that.
same board. and two, I forgot.
I was thinking to myself, I'm sure everybody who had the Seahawks minus the 1 would have liked to have seen that video before they laid the 1 with the Seahawks.
Wow. The Seahawks could have won that game still.
Man,
man, oh man! I know a couple guys that hate the Seahawks.
You can. That's the other thing I was going to say. You can always tell which coaches played the game of football at the highest level because they are nuts. They are nuts, just like I am.
Hey, before we leave, I got a fun little picture to show you guys. Ryan, Braylon and I already saw this.
Okay.
This is something for you.
I'll look at the monitor.
Take a look at the monitor and tell me Which quarterback you would take out on a date?
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Explain to the radio peeps what you're looking at.
Okay, we are looking at girl versions of Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. I actually think the prettiest girl version of themselves is Tom Brady.
He is.
That is definitely. I said
he's some woman.
I said Patricia Holmes. I mean Patricia Mahomes.
Look, Patrick Mahomes looks.
She looks exotic. Like Patricia
Patrice
Mahomes
looks very nice.
Thomasina looks good, I think.
Nah, like
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is ugly.
Yeah, I don't know. That's incredible.
It's not even close.
Wow, that is incredible. Very, very, very.
Very awkward, but you know, there it is.
Beautiful.
Well,
very beautiful.
That is what you call a hell of a spectrum shift from how we opened the show to how we
it's kind of content you get here at Woodward Sports Network.
Man, you gotta love us or hate us.
How do you not? We're gonna get out of here, guys. Bring us home. Big show for you tomorrow as well, Braylon.
Big show tomorrow. We're excited. Hey, man, we had a great time Fowling yesterday, but we had a great time with you today. This is what we do. This is why we do it. Big game yesterday. Steph Curry didn't play his best game. Book got injured, and the Suns ended up winning their 17th in a row. Ohio State took out their frustrations of losing to Michigan on Duke, the number one team in basketball, as they upset Duke, coming back from 17 points. Shout out to them. And outside of that, man, it's just having fun, man. You see it. We know how to switch. We can turn any switch off and on. This is what we do. Alex Fish, good job. Master, we appreciate you as always. Hey, man, teammate, good job yesterday, buddy.
Yeah.
Good job. This is how we end the show. The champs are folding, baby. I'm Edwards. He's Ermanni. This is the bottom line of Woodward Sports.
Let's go back to Cade Cunningham. And Covington probably thought he had this in the bucket. But Cade stayed with it, got a beautiful block from behind, no foul. And the Pistons were able to go down the other end and get a three-pointer out of it. You were hoping that would serve as a catalyst.